My 11-year-old walked less than a mile away from home. I was arrested and charged with reckless conduct. Bro, my mom would not survive in current year parenting. Millions of losers and suckers just like John McCain. This As Told To essay is based on a conversation with Brittany Patterson, 41, real estate broker and mom of 4. Okay, all right. My cell phone rang at lunchtime on October 30th, 2024, near the end of my 14-year-old son Evander's doctor appointment. It was the police. Okay, first of all, who the fuck names their kid Evander? That's not a real name. That's like a name that I would read in the His Dark Materials book series. You rode a mile away from home on your fucking big wheel before you were 4. These people are retarded, true. The sheriff's deputy asked if I knew that my youngest son, Soren, who was about to turn 11, was alone in our downtown area. No, I said. It turned out he'd walked just under a mile from our house in the woods where he's homeschooled. The deputy wanted to know why he was there, how he got there, and why I didn't know where he was. That's a little intrusive. I think that's none of your fucking business, Mr. Deputy. I was annoyed with Soren for going into town without telling me or other family members first, but I wasn't panicking. I told her that I knew the roads and that he was mature enough to walk there without incident. The deputy said it wasn't safe because it was a dangerous road. She said all kinds of things could have happened, including being kidnapped. Me, at 11 years old, wandering around past midnight. I never got kidnapped. I knew to stay away from people on the side of the road when they started shooting at each other. I had a sense of survival. Female deputy. Fucking yeah, red alarm, dude. 15 minutes later, as I rushed home from the doctor's, my dad called to say that the police had dropped Soren off. My mom and I chastised him for leaving the house without telling us where he was going and how long he was going to be. We discussed what had happened, and Soren was supposed to accompany me to the appointment, but he wasn't there when I called out to say it was time to go. I figured he decided that he wanted to stay. I wasn't concerned because I knew we'd be back in about an hour and a half. We live on a rural 16-acre compound that includes our house, which contains an in-law suite for my dad, who's always home. My mom and sisters live in a building that's a 3-minute walk away. The kids, we also have 2 daughters, Enola, 16, and Selah, 12, always go back and forth between the properties. What are these kids' names? What are all of these kids' names? Enola Gay. My husband Josh works as a superintendent of schools in Montana. We were both raised with a lot of freedom and independence. We're free-range parents who want the same kind of life for our children. They're allowed to go back into the woods and dig and build forts. They ride their dirt bikes or walk over to neighbors' houses where there's a nice flat spot to play basketball. Blasketball, by the way. Soren told me he'd gotten bored at lunchtime and wanted to go for a walk. He walked into our small town of 370 people along the verge of the road, which has a speed limit of 25 to 35 miles an hour. He wandered through the gas station to say hi to his friend's grandma who works there. I would wager in a town of 370 people, that's probably as safe as you're gonna fucking get, honestly. Bro's playing a tabletop RPG. What is with these fucking names? Yeah. Yeah. The city people don't get it, they don't. She wasn't around, so he went to the Dollar General. He was on his way back home when a lady outside the post office called him over to her car. Okay, well that lady's fucking creepy. She asked if I was okay, and I said I was, Soren told me. She asked him who his mom was, and he told her my name. Then he got a little nervous. He didn't feel like he should be talking to her and just walked away. I guess that, at some point, she called the police. And see, this is where the problem is, right? You have people who have basically been instructed that calling the police and telling on any perceived infraction of your neighbors is a good thing to do. And if anyone in the chat has seen Equilibrium, that's a great movie. Having people ready and willing to tell any perceived slight to government officials is not a society that you want to be living in. This woman is not just crazy, she is also patently evil for doing what she did. The cops responding to that call and not just saying, mind your business, bitch. Yeah, exactly. I didn't fuss at Soren for walking to the Dollar General because I think that's fine. I fussed at him for not letting me know that he was going when leaving the property. And this is the correct thing to do. Right? Like, even my mother had the awareness of, like, when you leave, tell me you're leaving. She didn't care where I was going or how long I was gone, as long as I told her I was leaving. A mile is literally nothing in rural areas. Yeah, true. It was a communication thing. He apologized, and we moved on with the afternoon. Around 6:30 p.m., the deputy sheriff and another officer knocked on our door. I opened the door and held my finger up, asking if they could give me a moment to end my phone call with my client. "You need to step outside now," the deputy said. They asked me to turn around and put my hands behind my back. Soren was sitting right there watching the whole thing. They said I was under arrest on a charge of reckless conduct and took my phone. At the station, they fingerprinted me, they stripped me down and made me change clothes into an orange jumpsuit. That was fast. They scanned my body and took my mugshot. I was only in there for an hour and a half. My mom and sister paid $500 for me to be released on bail, and I was back home by 8:30 p.m. There shouldn't have been any bail, because this shouldn't have happened. Mom gets arrested because kid wanted to get some chocolate milk from the convenience store. Yeah, it's fucking crazy, right? Like, I genuinely cannot believe the story is real in current year. Like, it's scary to think that people would, like, want to report you to the police for something like this. Funny thing is, most school districts, at least in Texas, where your secondary school had the option of walking home more than 30 minutes away, so the government has stated they know this happens and does not care in the past. Yeah. Yeah. Let's see, where was I? I'm a leaned back gamer a little bit because my shoulder's killing me. The next day, I contacted David DeLugis, the founder of Parents USA, a nonprofit that often provides pro bono legal support, legal, by the way, to parents wrongly accused of child neglect. The case manager texted me on November 5th because she wanted to stop by to go over a so-called safety plan. It required me to delegate a safety person, presumably my mom, to be a knowing participant and guardian and watch over the children when I wasn't there. Under her supervision, I also needed to download a tracking app onto Soren's phone so I could monitor his location. This should be entirely unnecessary. Like, if I put myself in the position of a parent, I want to foster trust between myself and my children. And I think the only reason I would ever want to put a tracking app on my child's phone is if they had lied to me probably twice about where they were going or what they were doing. And then I'm like, until you can be trustworthy, this needs to go on your phone. But this isn't even the child's fault. So, like, the child is being punished and being shown that they're not going to be given trust for something that they didn't even do wrong, you know? Or like the government wants to keep track of them. It's so stupid. As a punishment for doing something unsafe. Yeah, but like, this kid didn't do anything unsafe. He lives in a small, tight-knit community. He walked to the convenience store. Apparently something that he normally does. What was unsafe about this? Absolutely nothing. Like, it's crazy. DeLugis, an attorney, explained the pros and cons of me signing or not signing the safety plan. I decided that it was better to not sign it. I knew the potential risk that the deputies could push the issue and maybe even try to have my children removed from my home. So it's scary. I kind of respect her bravery here. Because, like, she's right. If they're already pushing for, like, this level of surveillance because the kid walked to the convenience store, I would also be afraid of them just being like, oh, well, you're clearly not fit to parent your children. That is insane, dude. I hope that woman who called the police, I hope she steps on Legos for the rest of her life. What was unsafe? Talking to the bitch that reported it. When I was growing up, I was always told that, like, if somebody tries to flag you down from their car, not only do you ignore them, but you, like, walk into the closest shop so they don't have access to you. Ugh. But I feel it's more important to stand up for what we believe in. My kids are all supportive of that decision because we've talked about everything that's been going on. We know the maximum punishment could be a $1,000 fine and up to a year in jail. DeLugis is helping us dispute the charges. There shouldn't even be any charges. It's fucking insane that she's up against, like, never mind the fine, but a year in jail? A year in jail for her kid walking to the convenience store. What the fuck is this, dude? The police are on their way with blankets and cocoa. Meanwhile, friends and family have said that they're concerned because they sometimes leave their kids alone at home or their kids go out for walks like Soren. They wonder now if they'll have the cops show up because of it. None of us want the government telling us how to raise our children. which is very fucking valid. The government shouldn't be having this much control over how you raise your children. My grandmother wouldn't let me stay home alone until I was probably like 13 or 14. My dad let me stay home alone when I was around 10. My mom let me stay home alone way earlier than I probably should have been allowed, but like, hey, I turned out okay. Your parents made you go out for long walks and bike rides by yourself all the time? Yeah. And my mom would just be like, when are you going out today? Just get Soren his carry permit. True, I'm from the government and I'm here to help. I'm just so angry that like some dumb bitch was like, oh, this 11-year-old, this child walked to the convenience store. We need to call the police. She's probably some like angry, envious, childless bitch who's like, oh, this whole family and their extended family live on a compound having a beautiful life. I need to destroy that. And just be home before the street lamps turn on, right? Yeah, the more you're able to solidify trust with your parent and what you're able to be responsible with, the more privileges you receive as a child. Put all kids in prison. She's one of the 4B women who shaved her head. I was just like, this is incredibly angering. If I lived in a small rural town with less than 400 fucking people, I probably know literally everyone in that town and all of their dirty laundry. There should be no issues with my child walking to a convenience store, man. You've been home alone so many times, they legit said that there's food in the fridge, don't open the door to literally anyone. Yeah, they're just like, there's food in the fridge, there's cooking instructions depending on what kind of thing it is. Don't open the door for anyone, I don't care who it is. Cancerous humor, they give the 14 months of Proom, congrats on the freedom. About to get her house egged and TP'd every Friday for years. The 5 cats and box of Franzia will never satisfy the gaping hole. Jesus Christ. It's not like a kid was a town away wandering off. Yeah, no. I was like, his friend's grandma apparently worked at one of the stores as well. So it's just like, what the fuck is the problem here? How is the woman who called this in such an evil bitch? How is the female sheriff also such an evil bitch for following up on something so like basic? And why are they continuing to go after this woman? It's actually crazy to me. It's like peak clown world, man. Kid even had checkpoints along the way. Deputy, but the sheriff should answer for this. Yeah, the sheriff, deputy, whoever the fuck was taking the call. The police woman. I just remembered it was a woman. Female officer, you answered your own question. True and real. Is there any indication the caller even lived there? No idea. They don't explain who the caller was. Sounds like a vendetta, if anything. God damn. That's the goal, deny childhood. I understand wanting to keep kids safe, and there are certain things that you should do to keep them safe. There are things that my mom did that she should not have when it came to raising me. But it's like, if you just trap your kids in a bubble and you're terrified to like let them become their own person, they're going to become like these stunted babies that we have in college now that basically need daddy government to hold their hand and do everything for them. They're not going to become fully functioning adults. And like, obviously that's what the government would prefer, but still. The one pocket of high trust society clearly is the problem here, Kirsche. Must be stamped out so we can get our plastic pods, true. And Foxy, that's what they want. And I hate it! The ones that need a kindergarten day after an election. Yeah, exactly. Sounds like a prosecutor wants to pad their numbers. They're not going to pad anything with... I think anyone with any amount of brain activity reading this would get pissed at reading it. Like, regardless of where you fall on the political spectrum, this should make you angry. Low trust society and its consequences. God damn. God damn.